It is really great to be here. It's great to be here in a room full of people who care as much about education as I do, and specifically about teachers. Every one of you can probably remember a favorite teacher whose impact has stayed with you for many, many years. We all have that teacher. So I want to tell you about mine. For me, let's see, there I am. It was my first grade teacher, Mrs. Ross, at Hilltop Elementary School in St. Louis, Missouri. So that's me in the middle there, wearing my very best picture-taking outfit. You can see my mom dug that up for me, and she was like, look at your shoes. Do you see how I dressed you for picture day? And that's Mrs. Ross standing in the back, proud as a peacock. I loved this teacher so much that I would sign my papers, "Love, Lesli." So this teacher had a huge impact on me, and probably why I love learning today. And many people feel that same personal connection to one of PBS's first teachers. Of course, I'm talking about Mr. Rogers. So for some of you, Mr. Rogers and PBS are inextricably linked in your mind, and that's a good thing. So today I'm going to start with Mr. Rogers. I'm going to start at the very beginning. I'm going to share some things that you probably know about PBS. Then I want to share some things that you probably don't know about PBS and some of where we're headed next. It's a vision that we like to call Remaking Learning in the Neighborhood, with an homage to Mr. Rogers. And also it's a call for neighbors like you, people who can partner with us and help us to get there. The tie between PBS and Mr. Rogers isn't just public perception, it's really a bond that holds true today. Mr. Rogers is a critical part of everything that we do at PBS. He's a part of our legacy, he's a part of our mission, and we think about him all the time. We think about how he believed that every child was special in his or her own unique way. He put children at the center of everything that he did, and we still do that today. He believed in their boundless potential, and we do today. And he proved that television was a powerful tool that could be used for good at a time when that idea was truly revolutionary. So today, PBS remains committed to that same vision, the power of media, the idea that media is a powerful tool that we can use to reach, teach, and engage children, and to set them on a path for success and a path of unlimited possibilities. We're committed to reaching all kids in America, but especially focused on the most underserved. We also see the promise in all children. We view children as citizens, not consumers, and we view them as people who are curious, empathetic, and resilient little explorers who are the masters of their own learning and their own discovery. And we believe that it's our responsibility to offer content that lights a spark, that inspires kids' passions and motivates them to want to keep exploring whatever it is that they're interested in and excited about long after the screen is turned off. So we like to think of the screen and of the media as a way to spark learning moments for kids. This vision for our children, it's not new to PBS, but we've learned a lot over the past half-century about what works best when it comes to using media to help children learn. First and foremost, we've learned to start with children's needs. So everything we do is created with kids' developmental needs at the core. And this is, hold on, let's see. Oh, there we go, okay. With kids' developmental needs at the core. So everything we do is created kind of with this map. We work with child development experts and education experts to understand exactly what young children need in order to get their learning off to the right start. Sometimes they're cognitive skills like literacy, foundational math concepts, science. Other times the learning is social emotional. We call this our whole child approach. Let's take a look at how we put it into action. I'm going to roll a video here.
PBS Kids, where an educator-developed curriculum plan is built into every program, which helps kids prepare for school and unlock their true potential.
What are we waiting for?
Science.
Wow, the chameleon changes color.
Maybe the best way to learn the planets is to go look at them.
Nature is pretty amazing. Backyard explorer extraordinaire.
Math.
Sorting is when you separate things based on size or shape or whatever. Ant got taken away. That means subtraction.
Engineering.
If you're building a windmill, you need sails. He just had to put them together.
Literacy.
Word up!
Way to go, super readers.
Social and emotional development.
I just didn't realize how hurt you were, but now I do.
Now that is empathy.
Think about how someone else is feeling.
I'll help you, Thomas. Hooray! Onward and onward!
PBS Kids is definitely making an impact. Our tested and proven content
Math really saved our show.
has made PBS Kids the leader in school readiness.
So our curriculum advisors work with us to help us understand how to approach every one of those topics in an age-appropriate way so that we capture the important subjects that you saw in the video. And then for every curriculum area, we build a learning framework with goals for every single stage of child development. So what do children who are age 2 need to know about literacy, about math, about science? Same with age 3, age 4, kind of working our way all the way up. And then we partner with the world's most creative and talented producers to develop characters and stories that bring those learning goals to life. The next step is to test our content to make sure that it's delivering on its educational objectives. And as you can see on this slide, years of research have proven that PBS Kids content has a positive effect on school readiness skills, with children from low-income homes making the greatest gains in all of our testing. One study from West Ed found that engaging low-income parents and their preschool children with PBS Kids games and at-home activities boosts math learning and helps prepare children for entry into kindergarten. The same study also found that parents benefited from playing the games with their children, and they became more aware of their children's abilities and more engaged in their learning. Because we know what a powerful role media can play, our goal is to leverage every platform to reach as many children as possible with our content. On TV, we reach more kids 2 to 5 across the country, more kids in low-income homes, and more moms than any other children's TV network. Earlier this year, we dramatically expanded that reach with the launch of a new PBS Kids 24/7 channel. It's a free national TV service that is now live and will be available to nearly 95% of all US TV households by the end of this year. This new offering makes our content available to families during the hours when they're home together, when working parents are at home, and when kids are actually watching the most television, which is at night and on the weekends. This is especially important when it comes to reaching low-income families who watch even more television in the evenings and on the weekends. The channel's also available as a live stream on all digital platforms, and that's another area where PBS Kids is a leader. Across our digital platforms, we average over 11 million unique users per month and over 4 billion streams per year. That's billion with a B. That success is built on years of experience learning how to create media that truly engages children. And that brings me to what you may not know about PBS. Today, I'm kind of one step behind on all my slides, sorry. Because I'm getting, let's see. There we go. Today, we're laser focused on figuring out how to apply what we've learned from creating engaging and educational children's media to the challenges that all of you in this room are grappling with in the broader education space. One of those lessons is about the important role that grown-ups play in children's lives, especially when it comes to their learning. Their engagement is critical to children's success. We've learned from research that when a child's parent is engaged, even just having a conversation with their children about what they're watching or what they're learning, that child's learning increases. Take the West Ed study that I cited earlier. Using our media help kids in the study to learn exactly what we set out to teach them. But the learning was accelerated even further when their parents were part of the experience and the experiment. The same is true of teachers. For example, in a study from EDC SRI, preschool teachers, let's see. Now I'm not seeing my study. Oh, there we go. Preschool teachers used a 10-week PBS Kids math supplement in their classrooms, integrating videos and interactive content from shows like Curious George and Dinosaur Train, as well as related teacher training. Children in classrooms using the supplement improved significantly in their understanding of early math skills, such as counting and number recognition. In addition, the teachers who used the supplement reported significant increases in their confidence in teaching math concepts. Research like this has taught us that educational content is only one piece of the puzzle. Learning truly depends on relationships, human relationships. All of our success in reaching and teaching children relies on having boots on the ground to mediate the experience and to deliver it to local communities across the nation. So we know that if we want to support kids, we also need to work with like-minded people and organizations like all of you to empower the parents and the teachers in their lives. That's why we're now approaching our work as part of a larger ecosystem made up of all of the places where children learn. We know that we can't just focus on developing this great, engaging children's media. We need to think about the role that we're playing as part of the ecosystem. In our minds, that ecosystem centers on children. We put children squarely in the center, but it relies on teachers and parents and partners, including PBS stations. On the local level, our nearly 350 member stations are a really valuable asset. They are rooted in their communities, they're connectors, they work with local organizations, they work with teachers, they work with students, and they work with parents to address educational needs. And on the national level, we recently reorganized our team at PBS, bringing together our children's media team, our education team, and our parents team all in one group that's really focused on achieving this goal. But that's just the first step. We realized that while we can play a role in this ecosystem, we're just one part of it. And it's really, truly going to take all of us, thus the metaphor of the neighborhood working together to make a difference. So let's take a look at how we can all work together to contribute to what we see as a learning ecosystem where children learn.
Kids learn all day, every day, in every kind of context. PBS and member stations are part of the learning ecosystem, partnering with parents, teachers, and the entire community to help children every step of the way.
In an ideal learning ecosystem, learning is happening in all places at all times. And it takes advantage of the many ways in which children learn and the many ways in which parents and teachers and other adults help children learn.
We know from research that when parents get involved in their children's education, children do better in school. And when parents and teachers work together, children learn even more. And so teachers and adults can take advantage of that and rely on PBS content knowing that it brings this strong foundation.
For our nation's most underserved communities, it's critical that we build the kinds of partnerships with families that support and promote this learning ecosystem. PBS is really a connector. It's at the center of those kinds of partnerships.
PBS videos give kids with fewer economic resources more opportunities to learn about their worlds, way beyond their own neighborhoods. The learning ecosystem gives us yet another way to narrow, if not eliminate, the opportunity gap.
As part of the learning ecosystem, parents, teachers, the community, and PBS stations are working together to help all children succeed, especially those that need it most.
So as we look ahead, our goal is to partner with others to strengthen the whole ecosystem. And our first step is to look to teachers to be our guide. Teachers are among our most important allies. They view PBS as one of their most trusted brands, and we in turn trust them and are committed to supporting them, and probably many of you who are educators, as you seek learning moments for your students and listening to them as we strive to create the very best content for the classroom. We know that one of the biggest challenges that teachers face is the abundance of digital learning resources that is available today and at their fingertips, and trying to figure out which ones are the most engaging and which ones are the most effective. One of the things we've learned from listening to teachers is that sometimes the most important part of their jobs is to know when to step aside and to let their students make their own discoveries. I'd like to share a video that illustrates that idea, explained by a former teacher, Lin-Manuel Miranda, who's best known for creating the hit musical Hamilton, and also recently hosted PBS's Arts Festival. Let's take a look.
My first year out of college, I taught at my old high school. I used to teach 7th grade English, and then for many years while I was writing my first musical, In the Heights, I was a professional sub, so I taught a lot of different subjects. And what you learn when you're a teacher is really helps you as both a performer and as a person. You learn that the greatest moments in the classroom happen when you stand to the side, when you allow the students to make connections among themselves. Connections you would never have fed them, but they inspire each other and they learn from each other and they collaborate. That helps you as a performer. The best performers know not only how to speak or to sing, but to listen. They're the ones who hold their fellow actors up. So my education as a teacher, really, I've carried it with me for the rest of my career.
So there you go, former teacher. Input like that is extremely valuable to us as we work to identify and address teachers' needs, just as we start with the needs of today's kids when we develop content for children. We're looking closely at the needs of today's teachers to inform our strategy for the future. We've spent the last year, and we'll spend the next year, talking to teachers, doing research, and getting feedback from teachers who've helped us to zero in on 3 key needs that I want to discuss today. The first is fostering the school-to-home connection. We know from research that when we engage teachers and parents, the result is a big win for students. We've also heard from teachers that it's a challenge sometimes to get parents engaged on a day-to-day basis, particularly in low-income communities. Our goal is to pioneer new ways to bring parents into the learning experience. We've had success doing this in the informal learning space, and now we're turning to the formal classroom and looking for partners to join us as we strive to help teachers and parents connect around children's learning. One of the things we've learned is that learning can happen anywhere and everywhere, and media can play a powerful role in helping to build stronger bridges between the many environments in which kids learn. That's why we're working with UCLA to build out a learning analytics platform that will harness the data that we're gathering from children playing games on PBS Kids to further support their learning. Research illustrates the potential of this. A few years ago, researchers had 80 preschoolers play a series of Curious George math games, and then those preschoolers were given portions of a standardized math test. We could see early on that the games were helping kids understand some key skills, but the team at UCLA, who focuses on data analysis and student assessment, helped us dig deeper. They created a neural net. In other words, they trained a computer to use a child's gameplay, the data, to predict that child's test score. So here's a subset of how the children actually scored on the math assessments. And then this is how the computer, there we go. This is how the computer predicted each child's score based on how that child played the Curious George games. The accuracy is astonishing, especially considering that these games were not even built for assessment. The team who analyzed the data believes that games like these could measure a child's cognitive learning better than a standardized test can. So what if games like these could reduce testing time and testing anxiety? How could they give teachers and parents the insight they need so that they can better focus individual learning time? Questions like these are among the many that we're currently exploring at PBS. We're in the process of building out this work, and we would welcome your involvement. We know that to make digital learning resources as impactful as possible, we need to work together. We're also working with our stations to pilot grassroots approaches to connecting home and school. For example, we recently partnered with 10 of our stations to build a new model of parent and teacher engagement that we call Family Creative Learning. In this program, our stations partner with local schools in low-income communities to host workshops for students and their parents. During the workshops, families work together to create their own stories and games and animations using PBS characters. And it's called the PBS Kids Scratch Junior app. It's something that we created in collaboration with the MIT Media Lab and Tufts University. And it helps children learn early coding skills. Well, it's also a great tool for adults, many of whom, including me, do not know how to code. So by using characters that kids love, the program made coding more accessible to children and parents who worked together and they had fun learning through play. The teachers were also empowered. 76% felt that their approach to teaching would change as a result of the workshop. Most importantly, the workshop led to more connections between the students, the parents, and the teachers. One of our stations shared an especially powerful example of this. It's the story of Lorena, who attended a workshop at her local station this year. This is Lorena. She's a loving, caring mother of third grader Alberto and 3-year-old Gladys. Lorena has no formal education. She can't read or write. Because of this, for years, she felt completely disconnected from her children's learning experiences. When she first arrived at the workshop, she was shy, she was nervous, and she was very uncomfortable about being there. But things changed when her kids showed her what they could do with the PBS Kids Scratch Junior app. Because the program is purely icon-based, no words, no reading required, Lorena could participate with her children, and she said for the first time ever, she could engage with them on something educational. She described the experience as life-changing. And because her local station partnered with her school on the event, Lorena now has a stronger connection to her children's school and their teachers. The Family Creative Learning Workshop sparked a pivotal learning moment for Lorena, opening new possibilities for her to engage with her children and as part of this learning ecosystem with her children, their teachers, and her whole community. So that's just one story, but it represents the power that all of us have to make a difference in education if we work together to address community needs. Moving forward, we want to build on efforts like these. We want to partner with those of you in the room and others to come up with new ways to support teachers in building that school-to-home connection. We're also looking for ways to help teachers support social-emotional learning. We hear from teachers time and again that the biggest concern that they have about their students is their lack of social-emotional skills, like managing their feelings, being able to conduct themselves in the classroom, and working well with others. Well, fortunately, we have some experience in the social-emotional space, thanks to the role that we've played with Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, and now with Daniel Tiger's Neighborhood. So in a recent study from Texas Tech University, researchers found that kids who watched Daniel Tiger's Neighborhood and engaged with the show, along with their parents, just having discussions about it, demonstrated greater empathy, recognized emotions better, and felt more confident in social interactions than their peers who didn't watch the show. Children in low-income homes were even more likely to reap the benefits from this series than their higher-income peers. But great content is only one piece of the puzzle. We need help from partners, parents, and teachers to connect kids with this content and guide us to continue to improve it so that it works better for them. We recently worked on a pilot in preschool childcare settings to learn more about this. We partnered with the Pittsburgh Association for the Education of Young Children and the Fred Rogers Company to implement something we called Life's Little Lessons, where we combine the songs and the activities from Daniel Tiger's Neighborhood to help build social emotional skills in a classroom environment. We worked on things like managing disappointment and persistence. So we learned that the child care providers found value in the resources and that those who used them consistently saw the greatest impact. We plan to expand our work in social emotional development by leveraging the characters that kids love and know from home and supporting classroom learning at the same time. We're looking for partners who understand the dynamics of the school market to help us build the most effective approach. And finally, our third focus is on building teacher communities. And like the others, it starts with a real need expressed by real teachers. We found through our discussions with teachers that they want more ways to talk to other teachers like themselves, to share best practices and ideas, and to feel a sense of community with others having similar experiences. This need is especially great among teachers in rural areas who often feel isolated geographically as well. We have a few efforts underway to help address this. We recently kicked off a teacher community program where we're partnering with stations in 5 rural communities, that's hard to say, rural communities, to hire expert teachers to work directly with the educators in the low-income areas that they serve, piloting new solutions and connecting them with each other and with PBS's proven content, helping them to deepen their own personal learning networks. In addition, every year we recognize trailblazing teachers across the country. We call them PBS Digital Innovators. This community includes almost 1,000 teachers today. And we continue to build it each year, connecting teachers with one another and with our stations to pioneer new ways to use media and technology to truly make a difference in learning. Now, all of this is just the tip of the iceberg. Through the scale and the reach of our stations, the possibilities for teacher communities are endless, but we need your help. Our long-term vision is to work with partners like you to respond to the needs of teachers and parents, fostering that school-to-home connection, strengthening social-emotional learning, and building teacher communities, all to help us achieve our shared goal of supporting learning outcomes for students. Looking ahead, we hope to build on this momentum in big ways, and we welcome you to join us. It's going to take all of us working together to address the challenges facing educators across America. We want to partner with you to spark those learning moments in our nation's children, because as our old friend, Mr. Rogers, would remind us, every one of them is special in their own way, and they have much to contribute to our shared future. So I'll close with that, but I'm happy to take questions if you're not rushing off to go see Betsy DeVos. Would love to hear what's on your mind. Thank you. Anybody, questions, thoughts, comments, discussion?
It's a daunting task, isn't it? I mean, it's an ambitious task, but how do you keep from getting disheartened by the institutional pressures that can keep things like this from happening?
You know, I think it's seeking people who have the same mission as us, who really, really believe in children learning, and who have hope that working together we can make it happen, and trying to find partners who are like-minded. We know we can't do it alone. We know what we're really good at. We're really good at creating this media that engages children, that makes learning fun, and we're also very good at reaching a lot of children and a lot of parents, and particularly in low-income communities. But we know that we need partners with people who really understand the formal education space and how we can have more impact there, and how we can build bridges between homes and schools, really focusing on some of these areas that teachers say are the most important to them. Anyone else? Yes?
Do you have official lab schools that you work with on a regular basis in different locations around the country?
We do. You know, we are based in Washington, D.C. at PBS headquarters, and we have a number of schools that we work with that we do all of our testing with. We go in and we test games and we test stories as we're developing content. So that's great for us. But our stations, like I said, are in 350 communities across the country. So chances are there's a station near you. And many of them also are partners with schools, the schools in their community, and work with them testing all kinds of apps and websites and television shows, and are often out in the community, you know, creating dialogue with parents and with teachers and trying to find out how we can improve what we're doing. And we're also seeking schools. So I know you're a former educator. You know, if any of you are representing schools and you'd like to partner with us, we'd love to talk to you as well.